Hello, everyone. I am Renown Zero, and we're back again talking about the Forbes writer Paul Tassi accusing Castlevania Nocturne criticism being rooted in a bunch of isms. This comes to us from Bounding into Comics. Seemingly unable to fathom the fans may have legitimate complaints about Netflix's treatment of the series' source material, Forbes critic Paul Tassi has attempted to claim that the widespread backlash against Castlevania Nocturne is born solely from racism and sexism. A standalone spin-off, which I don't think is a standalone spin-off. I think it's basically a sequel series. From Netflix's core Castlevania series, Castlevania Nocturne touts itself as an adaptation of the 1994 Konami-produced video game Castlevania Rondo of Blood, and to a lesser extent the seminal Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which I feel like they're going to do a Symphony of the Night series after this one's done. And basically, I've seen the first 4 episodes, and I'm not impressed. However, in typical Western adaptation fashion, Nocturne deviates heavily from its source material. From race swapping Annette to giving Richter's adventure a slight hint of racial strife, to having the blue-clad hero embarrassingly finish off all rocks, himself also race swapped, with an exchange of edgy dialogue that would make even Joss Whedon cringe. Nocturne takes some more creative liberties with the Belmont legend than any of the previous seasons. Yeah, I would say out of all the Belmonts, Richter is my second favorite Belmont character, Simon being my first. And in another usurping aspect of Nocturne's existence, Netflix's running riot over Konami's original games has led to the polarization of opinions between critics and fans. Because, of course, they include a plot line about slavery that's completely pointless. They give you characters that they think you're supposed to care about that were a part of said slavery, and yet no one cares. The character's not important, and they pretty much get deleted off the show pretty early on when you just met them. They get rid of them almost immediately. Per Rotten Tomatoes, the series currently holds a 100% fresh rating across 14 verified critic reviews, which you've recently learned that critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are pretty much bought and paid for, as pretty much anyone with a brain would have known that already. Though it should be noted that this number was generated by the site's own metric of was the review positive rather than looking at individual review scores, as while the majority of professional critics liked Nocturne, they did not give it a perfect score. Meanwhile, over 500 audience members had left the series with a 46% rotten rating, with many specifically criticizing how Nocturne both disregarded the game's continuity in favor of a politically charged plot and sidelined fan favorite vampire hunter Richter Belmont in favor of Annette and her mission of abolishing slavery. Which was one of the problems I had with this show when I said I put out my first impressions of this. One of my biggest issues was that they basically made Richter Belmont, a side character in his own show. He's on the cover of the show. Meanwhile, the story does not mainly focus on his Belmont family and his family's legacy. It focuses mainly on this garbage extra plot line that has nothing to do with Castlevania or what Castlevania has always been, which has been about the vampire hunter family of the Belmont clan versus the evil dark forces of Dracula. But of course, I've seen people say that putting Dracula as the main villain is repetitive, even though that's what the series and the franchise of Castlevania has always been about since the beginning on the NES. Yet, while these disappointed fans have been very clear about just why they feel Nocturne misses the mark, the unfortunate Tassi has come to convince himself that those who strongly dislike the series are nothing more but tired bigots. No. We just don't like your garbage that you're spewing out and calling it Castlevania. With, again, this unnecessary plot line that has nothing to do with this franchise. Authoring a piece headline Netflix's Castlevania Nocturne again proves the uselessness of user reviews. Tassi took issue with audiences' rejection of the series, asserting, having watched nearly all of the series now, I cannot agree with the bad writing, bad characters. I've only watched half the episodes, and I can agree with that 100% bad writing, bad characters complaints at all that you see in the user reviews, but instead a lot of focus is put on what else. Its prevalence of tokenized characters and other characters of color, altering a few origin stories to make that work. Yes, you had to alter an original white character in Annette, created her to be a tokenized version of what she originally was, because in Hollywood or anything now, you can't have a damsel in distress, you can't have a man saving a woman anymore. She has to be strong enough to save herself, and she has to be better than the main character because so far all I've seen is Annette wiping out the enemies in this show, and Belmont seems to be struggling. Richter seems to be struggling to do so because Wayman power and all that. Even Maria is like so far stronger than he is too. There's a throwaway line, I think that's what it's supposed to say, of oppression and the horrors of slavery in the plot. And outside of that, a focus on gay characters as well, like Olrox and that one Crusader character that I don't know the name of because I don't care. Quote, I cannot tell you how exhausted I am of user reviews for projects like this. Tassi later stated, this keeps happening over and over with some established IP includes some characters of color, different orientations, and knives come out because we're sick and tired of you ruining franchises and putting in your political garbage agendas into storylines and plot points that don't need to be said. This, again, is a series and a franchise that is about the forces of good, aka the Belmont family, the Belmont clan, versus the forces of evil controlled by Dracula. We don't, again, they never need to do this nonsense where they put in this useless plot line of slaves coming from the Caribbean when this show and plot and storyline location is in France. I'm just tired of this. Well, you're going to continue to see it when the creators of these types of shows that do this and they bastardize characters and they bastardize lore, people are going to continue to call out this nonsense. He then opined, I think user reviews can be interesting when we see splits from critics that are not rooted in these isms, but Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic have got to get a handle on this. So essentially remove the user review so no one can speak. We'll only have left the garbage critic reviews that we know are bought and paid for. I know there's a side that says its critic reviews that are useless, but user reviews, he ultimately concluded his grievance, these systems have never been worse. So again, essentially, we shouldn't be allowed to call out this garbage, this woke garbage, where they take an established character, they change who she is completely with Annette. They make Richter Belmont into a side character in his own show, similar to what they did with The Witcher, which is another well-established IP. They make Richter Belmont look weak, and they make Annette seem stronger than him. They make every character that is not Richter Belmont stronger than Richter Belmont. When he is specifically, again, the main character of this show, they make him into essentially a wimp, a coward, and a side character in his own show. And you're going to continue to see people calling out this nonsense because the people that are calling out this nonsense are passionate about the franchises that y'all want to bastardize. And you think you can put out this garbage product and think that we're supposed to just sit back and accept and consume your trash. Now, I'm because I'm watching this because I thought it would be good because I like the original Castlevania series. Got a poster of it right there on my wall. And I thought it would be good. However, I will say season 3 of the last series was very weak. Did some very questionable things to Alucard as a character, which was very unnecessary and just downright stupid. So I thought, hey, I thought this would be very good, but no, they wanted to do all these unnecessary changes, change storylines, change plot lines, change characters' backstories, and change who characters are to fit a garbage ideology or narrative about slavery, and not focus on what made Castlevania great. So all in all, Paul Tassi, you can go F yourself. I don't give a crap about you. You are a terrible critic. You use the same old song and dance that all these companies use about everybody being racist and sexist because people don't like the fact that creators of these series, people who want to create series around established franchises, decide to change it from what it originally is, and you don't like the fact that people are going to continue to call out the garbage. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit the like button, comment below what you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content, hit the bell for notifications, set the bell to all, that way you get notifications anytime I post a new video, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.